Gardens feel natural, but they never are. Every garden begins with an idea, and those ideas come from art, from philosophy, from the way a culture sees the world. When artists change how they see nature, garden designers change how they shape it. This series explores the relationship between art and garden design across history, the moments when shifts in perception reshaped the land itself. Because when we design a garden, we're not just arranging plants, we are giving form to the way we see nature. When modern audiences imagine the Garden of Eden, we instinctively picture wild, untamed abundance. We envision flowing vines, untouched landscapes, and nature existing at its most free and perfect state. However, to a medieval gardener or theologian, this modern idea of an overgrown, wild paradise would have made absolutely no sense. In the medieval imagination, paradise was not defined by its wildness, but by its strict, unyielding order. The ideal garden was deeply controlled, highly symmetrical, and entirely enclosed, because the act of asserting control over nature was the entire point of the space. These early gardens were never designed to imitate the natural world. Rather, they were explicitly designed to correct it. In medieval landscape design, walls, boundaries, and rigid paths mattered immensely. This concept was known as the Hortus Conclusus, the enclosed garden. It served as a physical expression of a deeply held moral belief that chaos was inherently dangerous. To the medieval mind, unchecked growth suggested moral decay, spiritual temptation, and the creeping influence of sin. The wilderness outside the garden walls was not viewed as a neutral ecosystem. It was a threatening void filled with beasts, outlaws, and demonic forces. Therefore, building a wall was an act of spiritual preservation. The Little Garden of Paradise by the Upper Rhinish master is the ultimate visual representation of the Hortus Conclusus. It features a high wall, orderly raised beds, a geometric layout, and Mary surrounded by highly symbolic plants, roses, lilies, strawberries, acting as a sanctuary against the chaotic world. Within these protective walls, plants were not selected for their aesthetic beauty or decorative appeal, but for their precise theological symbolism. A medieval garden functioned like a living manuscript that was meant to be read by its visitors. A red rose did not merely stand for earthly beauty, it was a potent symbol of martyrdom or the purity of the Virgin Mary. Similarly, a white lily was not planted just to look pretty, it was a theological declaration of the Annunciation and the Immaculate Purity. Other plants followed suit. The humble strawberry represented righteous fruit springing from the earth, and the columbine represented the Holy Spirit. This was a world where hidden divine meaning mattered far more than visual realism or botanical variety. Because meaning superseded nature, the garden became a literal diagram of universal order. It was constructed as a small, meticulously controlled universe where every single element had its divinely ordained place. Gardens were often divided into 4 quadrants by intersecting paths, a layout designed to represent the cross or the 4 rivers of Eden mentioned in the book of Genesis. In this worldview, paradise was not a place where nature ran free and did as it pleased. Paradise was the exact opposite. It was the one place on earth where nature finally obeyed. This medieval approach to the landscape leaves us with a profound philosophical question that still echoes in how we treat the natural world today. According to the theology of the time, the natural world was created by God. Why then, if nature was a divine creation, did it need to be so aggressively restrained, walled off, and corrected by human hands? The medieval answer was that the fall of man corrupted the earth, but the question forces us to reflect on our own modern compulsion to mow, trim, pave, and command the landscape we live in today. Gardens feel natural, but they never are. They are shaped by the ideas of their time, by art, by belief, by the way people throughout the world should look and behave. And those ideas are still with us, because when we design a garden, we're not just arranging plants, we are giving form to the way we see nature. In the next episode, we'll look at the Enlightenment's biggest lie, the natural garden.